The hotel staff will guide us for a safe exit. Thank you. A very good evening to respected officials from NSDC, business leaders, third-party aggregators, and HR professionals. On behalf of Yashaswi Academy for Skills, I, Amruta Karmarkar, would like to welcome you all for the awareness session on Amendments in Apprenticeship Rules 2025. I would like to invite the dignitaries on stage. Mr. Vasu Sharma, General Manager Apprenticeship, NSDC, Government of India. Mr. Deepan Ramalingam, Managing Director, Ring Feder Power Transmission India Private Limited. Dr. R.F. Saleru, President, International Confederation of Human Resource Association, Mauritius. And Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni, Chairman, Yashaswi Group. I would now like to invite Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni, Chairman, Yashaswi Group, for his welcome address.
Good evening to all. First of all, sincere apology, we started some late because we are getting a lot of phone calls that people are coming, they are requesting to wait. A lot of people are in the traffic jam, they are stuck up. Everybody is very keen to understand what apprenticeship amendment means, and then we have a person who head this entire division. So people are very keen to understand what these amendments are, how it will be implemented. And we are thankful, Vasuji, for accepting our invitation and coming all the way from Delhi to address the questions and have more clarity about this apprenticeship amendment. We are also thankful for Mr. Ramalingam. He will share the industry perspective. Ramalingam heads the earlier called Rathi Transpower. He is now Managing Director with that. And then we have my friend Mr. Arif, who is from Mauritius. He's a CEO of one of the leading organizations in Mauritius, and also he is a president for the International Confederation of Human Resource Association. So this entire today's event is a very small program. We more on the interactive, because we expect and we feel that everybody, those who have a lot of confusion about this apprenticeship amendment, they should ask the question, they should get the clarified. We have also made this program live through Facebook for Pan India, because most of the industry, they have requested us, they would like to understand what is this amendment, what is the purpose of this amendment, how is going to affect, because most of the industry, they were looking at.
Thank you, sir. I would now request Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni to felicitate. Thank you, sir. I would now request Mr. Vishwesh Kulkarni to felicitate our guests. I request Mr. Kulkarni to please felicitate Mr. Vasu Sharma, General Manager Apprenticeship, NSDC, Government of India. I would request him to please felicitate Mr. Deepan Ramalingam, Managing Director, Ring Feder Power Transmission India Private Limited. I would also request him to please felicitate Dr. R.F. Saleru, President, International Confederation of Human Resource Association, Mauritius. Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Mr. Mahendra Fanse, President, Indrayani Industrial Association, and GM HR and IR Ring Feder Power Transmission India Private Limited, to felicitate the guests. This felicitation is on behalf of Indrayani Industrial Association. Thank you, sir. I would now like to introduce you to our guest of honor for today, Mr. Deepan Ramalingam. Sir is a bachelor's in mechanical engineering from University of Madras, a postgraduate diploma in business administration from Symbiosis. He has also pursued his executive program in industrial management from KTH Royal Institute of Technology, Sweden. He also holds a corporate directorship certification from Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. Mr. Deepan Ramalingam is the Managing Director of Ringfeder Power Transmission India Private Limited, a global leader in drive and damping technology. With a distinguished career spanning over 2 decades, he brings a wealth of strategic and operational expertise to the mechanical power transmission industry. Based in Chennai, he is recognized not only for his corporate leadership, but also an inspiring global motivational speaker addressing topics at the intersection of innovation, leadership, and industrial excellence. In addition to his primary role at Ringfeder Power Transmission, Mr. Ramalingam holds significant leadership positions across affiliated organizations as Managing Director, Rathi Transpower Private Limited, Director, Chan India Private Limited, and Director, Mobile Climate Control Thermal Systems India Private Limited. He is also featured in global industry rankings for mechanical power transmission equipment manufacturers and widely acknowledged for bringing global innovations to the Indian market and elevating operational excellence across sectors. Sir, on behalf of Yashaswi Group, I welcome you once again for the knowledge sharing program on apprenticeship and invite you for your address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, all. I think more than what I know about me, in this institute gave a lot of things to remember. Thanks for that. Thanks for the nice introduction. Yeah, this is Deepan Ramalingam. I'm the Managing Director of Ringfeder Power Transmission, 104 years old company, started in Germany for damping technology products. So you might have seen between train coaches, there are a lot of springs used. So these springs are invented by Ringfeder in 104 years old. A short description about the company. In India, we started in 2008. And before that, my route starts from Pune. So I worked in Pune without knowing Hindi. And I stayed with a roommate who was a Kannadiga. He knows only Kannada and Hindi, and I know only English and Tamil. So it was so fun to be here. And without getting dosa and idli, having vada pav and misal pav, 20 years back. And I'm back in Pune now again with vada pav. So it's nice to be here addressing my roots. So good. Anyway, thanks for coming. And then a short thing from me. And I consider HR as the human resource, as the face of any organization. And to be true, even when we acquired Ringfeder Power Transmission, we acquired Rathi Transpower, who is one of the industrial manufacturer of couplings 1.5 years back. The first thing what we did when we acquired this company, first 4 months, I was sitting with the human resource team. So even the entire company thought that this guy is no more for selling, and he is not like to produce products, not to sell. He's just sitting with HR guys. Because, you know, HR is the face of any company. You know, you'll have to first take the people happy. If you don't make the people happy, and there is no point in investing in crores and crores of money on the machine or on your, whatever it is on the company. So first thing is that you'll have to invest on the human capital. So that way I see that the human resource team has got a major role in any organization, for a successful organization. And if there is no good HR team in any company, I would say that that's a big drawback for any company, and you can expect the company to drown anytime. So I would say I would give the all credits for the HR team sitting here for having these best organizations in India. So thanks for it. And to be coming to this topic, apprenticeship and then training, I really appreciate Yashaswi Group for creating the human capital or using the potential of human capital. Today, if you go to any big company and then you ask for it, how the freshers are, how you are employing, everybody complains that, oh, we have engineers, we have 4-year engineers, we have diploma candidates, but nobody is employable, and they don't have a right skill. But when you ask them the question back, what you do for that? What is your contribution as a company? They say that whenever somebody approaches, the students approach them for internship, for apprenticeship, everybody says that we are busy, we cannot employ you, we don't have a provision for apprenticeship. So these are all the excuses everybody gives, the big companies. And I would really request the entire team here to put this to your management, your owners or managing directors to impart the need for the human capital. And today, we are a company having, or we are the country having the average age of working as 28. And so we have enough power, and then we have to utilize this. And if we have such a massive human capital, and if we don't utilize, then we are not going to grow in a level at which we are projecting and then we are expecting. So I would say that I would request you to impress this on your organizations and then create an awareness. It has to come from the top management. It's not from the bottom up. It has to come from top down. So I would really request the companies to, and today after Ringfeder acquired Rati Transpower, we never say no to any interns, or because we know that they have an annual, they have 2 semesters, and they have holidays. So take as much as possible trainees as a GETs or apprenticeship people. So you're giving back to the society. You're training them. You're putting a seed today. You put a seed today, and then you will get good engineers or good technologists or your marketing, whatever the field you are in. So you are into various fields. So today you put a seed, and tomorrow you will get the good candidates for your industry and for the country. So with this, I really request you, all the HRs here, to imply this and then to put the seriousness to the institutes and create this awareness and contribute to the society, because they, apart from the academics, when they come to industry, they totally see a different world, because whenever we get 1 or 3 months or 4 months interns and GETs, when they finish, they really feel that what they study in the college, what is in the book, and what is in the industry is totally different. So this is possible only if we try to accommodate them and then give the necessary training possible. So, and this is more in the hands of HR, more than that, because sales is always looking into what is the numbers that we get. And again, the MDs are always into what is the bottom line we get. So everybody is into their own area of importance and the goals. And I would say this has to come from the human resource team to make your company to contribute to the industry and to develop the strong India with a strong skilled manpower. So with this, I request you all to please contemplate on that if it is not done. So give your extra time to the and then give them the opportunity and then contribute to the stronger India, and we'll be the developed nation and the top in the world soon. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the industry inputs. I would now like to request Dr. Arif Saleru to please come and share your inputs as well. We would like to know how Mauritius looks at apprentices or trainees.
So thank you very much. I think for giving me this opportunity to share what we are doing in terms of apprenticeship in Mauritius. In fact, it started when we were sitting together, the 4 of us, discussing about what's happening. And I've seen you, while sitting down, I've been reading about the revised amendments. And I should say that I'm really impressed. It shows, the commitment that you people are giving to this apprenticeship program. Then it shows, the belief in the capacity and potential of people. That is clearly seen in what I've been reading so far. In Mauritius, what do we have? We have the same thing. It is based on the German system. We call it a dual system, where people spend time in the learning sector, in a learning center, and then they do on-the-job training. So it's they call it a dual, means vocational and educational, that is theory and practice together. And then the one thing that I was discussing earlier on was about the fact that in Mauritius, when you take somebody for an apprenticeship program, you have to send every quarter a sort of assessment form to say if you are satisfied with what this apprenticeship is doing. Is the transfer of knowledge being done correctly, yes or no? So which means that the employer will be in a position of saying, I am happy with this apprentice, and therefore, if you have given 4 positive feedback about the apprentice, you should employ that person afterwards. So there is a sort of evaluation that is being done in between. I know in the discussion we were having, that if you force employers to take on board and give employment to this apprentice, it might blur the program. But what is done there is that they are being given an opportunity to do the evaluation. So in the first evaluation, you should immediately say, this person is correct, right for further investment or no. If it is not, then that person will be removed from the system. If you keep 1, 2, 3 positive, and a 4th positive would mean you have to give employment to the person. It's a bit of trying to make sure that the government does not spend money giving, we call it between inverted commas, cheap labor, cheap workers to employers. So because employers tend to, in the past, I'm not criticizing anyone, but in some cases you have employers who abuse of the system. They take apprenticeship, get them to do some work, and then afterwards remove them, get others to come into the system, etc. So to sort of put an halt to that, we put this evaluation system in between, and at the end, offer employment if in case you have 4 positive evaluation. That's the only perhaps thing that I see in terms of difference. Otherwise, it is almost similar. Dual system based on the German system, on the job and center learning. With that, I'll say thank you very much for this opportunity. If there are questions afterwards, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saleru. It gives me great honor to introduce our guest speaker for the day. Mr. Vasu Sharma is a seasoned strategist and leader in the fields of education, skilling, and public policy implementation. Currently serving as the head of apprenticeship at National Skill Development Corporation, Mr. Vasu plays a pivotal role in shaping large-scale programs that impact millions of youths across the country. With a deep understanding of the intersection of government, industry, and education, he has led several significant initiatives. With a background in economics and business administration and a career spanning public, private, and quasi-government sectors, he brings a unique systems thinking approach to solving complex human capital challenges. He is a passionate advocate for creating equitable learning and employment pathways and actively contributes to thought leadership in education and workforce development. Sir, I welcome you once again to the Oxford of the East and the Queen of Deccan, the Pune city, and invite you for your address.
Good evening, dignitaries on the stage, Dr. Arif, the whole entire Yashaswi team, for calling us here, Vishwesh ji. I think, we got to hear very good things about how the apprenticeship program is shaping us, and also perspectives of, how Mauritius is done. So the flow of the presentation is going to be that I'm going to first talk about the current program, the structure of the program, and how we fared at an India level, and then move on to the amendments. I think Mr. Vishweshji was telling me that a lot of people are keen to and have some questions around them. So hopefully I walk you over, some questions might get answered, and then we can take questions at the end as well. Just for my knowledge, with a show of hands, I would like to know, who all are taking apprentices at present? I'm sure there must be. Oh, wow. That's a good number. Great. So we'll move on with the presentation. Well, this is just a comparison with what is happening in other countries. Of course, in terms of if you see the percentage of apprentices being taken, across the globe, we know that Germany, Switzerland, UK are models that our program, our apprenticeship model has also been inspired by. However, in India, we really don't, this is just a suggestive figure of 6.5% because it's hard to get official numbers of the formal workforce including in MSMEs. But still, as you know, the potential is largely untapped. And the reforms that we introduce and the amendments which have come now are wanting to fill this gap up. If you see, most of you are taking apprentices, so I don't really need to talk about this slide. We'll just stay here for a couple of seconds. But as you know, apprenticeship, why? Because it bridges the skill gap. It creates a pipeline. Mr. Deepan had spoken about, leaders being, conscious of the bottom line. In all analysis, and a lot of companies who have been taking apprentices for many years now, they have shown that, in fact, it's cost positive at the end of the apprenticeship training. With especially industries that suffer with high attrition, we've noticed the fact that you might onboard someone. Right now I'm talking about full-time employees. You might onboard them, train them, only to know that after 1 year they leave. So none of the in fact, getting hiring, training, retaining is a major cost for companies. So apprenticeship obviously does, help people to create a pipeline for future workforce. Of course, there is productivity studies which have shown that, apple-to-apple comparison, full-time employee versus an apprentice at the end of their induction session, they end up being more productive and efficient. And of course, for the youth, it's enhanced employability. History of Apprenticeship Act, in fact, I think we were very forward-looking. 1961 was when the act was made, and then, as you know, through the years, we've been going through amendments, changing for the better for the industry and from the perspective of the apprentices. Just a quick overview of the Act. As you know, if any company has 30 or more employees, they have to mandatorily take apprentices. 18 plus for hazardous industries, otherwise 14 onwards you can start. The duration will depend on the curriculum of the program, so it can range from 6 to 36 months. An apprentice is not a worker, it's considered a trainee. And of course, we know PFESI is not applicable to them. And the other points will be covered later on, so I'll skip. So National Apprenticeship Program, of course, I think India is probably the only country that incentivizes industry to take apprentices. So whereas anywhere else in the world, this is not there. This definitely has given an impetus to the apprenticeship program because the 75% the stipend, the prescribed stipend, is given by the company. And once, most of you must be aware with the payment mechanism on the apprenticeship portal. So once the confirmation comes, 25%, remaining 25%, a maximum of 1,500, is given to the apprentice as a DPT. Now, the is that the apprentice should be less than 35 years of age. Well, I did speak about it, the benefits to establishments, industries, the benefit to apprentices. Of course, we keep iterating this because for HR professionals, when they want to make a case to get apprentices or get more apprentices, this narrative can be set with the leadership. Again, this question comes a lot, especially companies who are starting off, so we put this in the slide that what is the difference between an apprentice and an intern. Internship is not under the ambit of the Apprenticeship Act, so it's a mandate, it's something that companies have to do, so an apprentice would not be counted in the 2.5 to 15%. Apprenticeship apprenticeship is more structured, there's a fixed stipend, it's formalized with outcomes, there are, at the end of it, assessment certification that happens, and of course, it is a step to progressing on the ladder. Internship is mostly, could be task-based, short-term, varying stipends. So this is an overview of how the apprenticeship program has fared till date. We have close to 43 lakh apprentices that have been trained. So great number, but seeing the base of the workforce that we have, still, this number could have been more higher than this. About 52,000 establishments are taking apprentices or have taken apprentices at some point. We have, last financial year, in fact, we had about 20 lakh inbound candidates registered. 1,000 crore plus of DBT has been disbursed to the apprenticeship portal. And of course, we have over 1,400 programs and continuously keep improving. So if any industry comes and says that, this is a program that we want to keep or this is something relevant, we have a fast-paced mechanism of introducing a program. As you know that it's been consistently increasing, and this year internally we have a target to do about 13 lakh apprenticeship, to ensure that there are about 13 lakh apprenticeship contracts generated. So we are on the path to do it. Roughly about 5,500 contracts are generated every day. This is how the states have fared, so no points for guessing. Maharashtra has been up quite a bit. But if you can also see, we as policymakers would like a more equitable growth also. So I'm in Maharashtra, so I can't say that, take more, because I guess this reflects that you're already taking. But Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Haryana, UP, Karnataka, and so on. If we see, even in terms of sectors, I feel there could be more, we focus too much on automotive, IT, ITS, retail, electronics. Of course, these are high employers. However, there are maybe like a BFSI is a big industry, but somehow banking, financial services, we don't see so many apprenticeship being taken. So this also we constantly, the TPAs such as Yashaswi have been doing a great job, but we keep, engaging with them and talking to them on how we can also increase the spread over sectors. Assessments, again, as some of you know, I think a lot of you would be taking, and this is something that I might even cover again, but would like to take this moment that there's a tendency of companies to, if you like someone, then you would just want to absorb them in the middle of the apprenticeship or, not wait till the end of it. What's happening now is, especially if some of you are aware of the new education policy, NEP 2020 that came, essentially that says that every learning that we do, every program that we do will be creditized. So apprenticeship training, at the end of it, the assessment and certification will also carry some credits that the apprentice would be able to utilize in the future. But especially in the optional trades, we've seen extremely low assessments, and personally we've taken this up as a target for ourselves also, that we want to definitely move upwards of the 10-12% that we are at to a higher number. Of course, we are also aware that some apprentices abscond or leave the trainings midway, but I'll say that if you can wait for a couple of months before taking the person on as a full-time role, do the assessment and certification, because that's going to help the person build credentials. Imagine us going to whichever universities we went to but not getting a certificate at the end of it. So it's similar. I'll come back to this. Just an overview of, we have great names across sectors, companies who are taking apprentices. Of course, not an exhaustive list, but some of the leading names of companies that are taking apprentices. So of course, TPAs, I did mention that Yashaswi has been doing a great job. They are there to help you with the entire process. So they definitely are helping the government, us, realize the full potential of apprenticeship training in India. As you know, they streamline processes, facilitate the entire hiring, sourcing process for you, onboarding on the portal, registration, ensuring that you're complying with the ask of the Act, training oversight, outreach, and almost about 60-70% of the entire apprenticeship contracts are managed by TPA. So they are extremely important stakeholders to us. There's something that we do, and very soon, you'll see intelligence. So, because now the program has matured quite a bit, so we reach out to companies, we understand what are some of the best practices that they are doing in terms of training, in terms of, what is the ideal mentor to apprentice ratio in a particular sector, how often are you taking assessments, what are the issues that you're facing. So we keep doing this, we do visits to establishments, and we keep getting this intelligence to understand, what would be an ideal, and then any company which is new to an apprenticeship program, we are happy to guide them into, how they can structure the entire program to ensure that the outcomes at the end of the program are met. So now we move on to the amendments. There were certain terms introduced. So degree apprenticeship, of course, I think it's a very good move in the apprenticeship program. Again, Dr. Arif had mentioned about the dual VET system, but we've been not very, it's been happening, but not in very big numbers. But finally, the degree apprenticeship, we can look at a similar institution where an apprentice is in college, but also gets to work as an apprentice in companies alongside as a part of a few semesters. Institution, there are certain definitions changed because they did not, with the new amendments, we had to change definitions also. So institution has incorporated college educational centers, regional centers, contractual staff, and persons with benchmark disability. This is the new stipend structure. I'm sure a lot of people had questions around this. There is also some confusion, so let me clarify. There is only a change in the stipend structure, not the payout of NAPS. So that remains maximum of 1,500 rupees. This was important because, and this took a while, and now we will revisit this after every year and a half, because it's unfair for the apprentice also, because there is inflation, prices of everything is going on, but the minimum prescribed stipend for a few years had remained the same. So we will peg it to the CPI and keep, revising the minimum stipend rate. So almost, if you see across level, average of about 35% increase in the stipend. Again, I'll clarify, if you are taking an apprentice in a course whose minimum qualification is, say, 12th pass, then even if that person is a graduate, the minimum stipend would be 7,000 rupees. But I know most companies, especially in Pune and these areas, are paying more than the prescribed stipend, so just for knowledge. I think this also has come up a lot, the minimum gap between trainings. So one thing is that a candidate can do a maximum of 2 apprenticeship trainings. The second contract, if they choose to, can only start after 1 year of the completion of the first contract. The second training must be in a different job role. In fact, Mr. Arif was also telling me that they have more stringent assessment criteria in Mauritius. So if you don't, and they have checks in the middle, something that we are also trying to introduce. So in an apprenticeship training, an apprentice will go through 4 assessments, and if they're not able to pass one, they might not be able to continue with the same apprenticeship training, and if they want to become an apprentice, they will have to apply in a different sector. So I think that's the seriousness with which apprenticeship should be taken. It is like an extended education. The stipend contribution under NAPS shall be restricted for the first time training only. So if you're doing apprenticeship, again, it'll have to be a non-NAPS contract. Termination, again, this is more back-end. There was auto terminations happening, so a lot of times apprenticeship advisors were not acting on time, and then some terminations without actually knowing the real reason behind it, the system would auto-terminate them. And we had created it in a way because we didn't want any pendencies to be there. But now auto-termination is not going to be there. The apprenticeship advisors are going to act on a timely basis and cater to the request. This is, again, a change. If there is a voluntary termination by an apprentice for health reasons, education, relocation, so on and so forth, There will have to be a 3-month waiting period for a male apprentice, and the new contract would be non-NAPS. For a female apprentice, there's no waiting period, and the new contract will be non-NAPS. So in both cases, it will be non-NAPS, but there is a cooling off period for the male candidate. However, if an apprentice contract is terminated by the failure of an apprentice, they won't be able to apply for another training. This is apprenticeship embedded degree program, and this is something that again we are pushing quite a bit. So it is going to be a tripartite contract between the education institution, industry, and the apprentice. Basis how, and a lot of the onus will lie on the educational institution. So how they, form the entire program, what semesters are going to be earmarked for apprenticeship program, how it is going to be tied in. There is no one size fit all. You could do an apprenticeship training in one go, maybe in the last year, or it could be certain months embedded between. After the first year, you can't start this in the first year. So this is something that's maturing. Slowly we will see, there are some apprenticeship embedded degree programs already going on, but we will see a lot more coming in, and the apprentice will actually move out of the apprenticeship training with an apprenticeship certificate and of course their degree that they are pursuing. So this will again become a great, this create a pipeline for places where they have done their apprentice while being in college, and of course enhance the whole narrative of even if you go to the best of the colleges to hire people, you will not, the employability will be extremely low. And this is something that, I'm sure you guys would know better than anyone. So this would definitely, cater to that. There's provision for PWD, so the Act says that 4% of apprentices must be PWD. However, if these reserve seats remain unfulfilled, they can be allocated to candidates who meet the minimum physical standards. So this was there, just a little bit more of amendment. So this is on the contract level, 2.5% to 15%. We always had this thing that 5% was earmarked for freshers or candidates who were coming with a skill certificate. Again, if I would again urge you that 5% you should take in this category. However, again, if these go unfilled, for whatever reason, if you're not able to get candidates, right kind of candidates, or the job roles that you're looking at, they can't qualify for that, then with the approval of the advisor, apprenticeship advisor, you can use that quota for the other apprentices. Deployment at client location, I think this is a very welcome amendment, had come for different kinds of companies, whether it could be staffing companies or it could be companies which are working with clients, they could be in other sectors, industries. And we had also got a request that sometimes there were companies who wanted to send their apprentices abroad to work. So we've added this thing. Frankly, it's a sensitive topic, so we are still refining and working on how interests of all party can be met. But the amendment is this, that if you want to go to a client location, the establishment must pay the prescribed stipend plus additional compensation, at least equal to the stipend, along with cost of travel, accommodation, food, hospitalization, insurance, which is a must. Of course, for the abroad, similar cost categories are there. The establishment should ensure that they're covering for this. We will be coming up, we will be working on this, coming up with more standards of to how these stipend rates could be or what should be the other components. The mode of training, again, some, especially in the services sector, there are some job roles which require, online training, and this is a request that had come. So again, with the course, the flow of the course and the apprenticeship advisor, you can cover certain components of primarily, I would say, theoretical learning that goes on in an apprenticeship training, online or in a blended mode. We also have a special incentive for NER, and we have been really pushing for this. And in fact, this ever since we launched this a few months back, this has got great response. So any NER resident of any state, if they go to another state to do apprentice, they will get a 1,500 additional component as far as the NAPS component is 1,500, and they'll get 1,500 in addition to that. So, I would urge you to try and take more NER apprentices as well. So thank you. This was it, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Yeah, so thank you, sir, for this very informative session. The forum is now open for questions. I would request the audience to please be specific with their questions, and you may ask questions only related to the amendments and not the DBT. So we will be taking up all the queries.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Aniket Pritish. I'm representing BP, British Petroleum. Thanks for this session, and Mr. Vasu, the question is to you. Point number one, are there any industries or establishments which are in the exclusion list? For example, if we have a project office or any support services in which the directors are only mapped in that particular establishment, can it be excluded and not, they are not required to deploy apprentices? And the second question is, how can we partner with institutions to leverage the new amendment, in which case, we can completely take a batch who could be on a third year and enhance their skills in terms of the relevant skill sets that we require in our industry. It could be related to AI, etc. Can that be done? Thank you.
Thank you. Aniket, you said your name was?
Aniket Pritish.
Aniket Pritish, thank you. So exclusions, not really. I mean, if you have less than 30 employees, it's not mandated for that you're aware of. However, the 2.5 to 15% is basis your national strength. So if there are locations where you think you can accommodate more apprentices, they can be. So at a national level, if you are meeting the minimum 2.5%, should be fine. AEDP, I would, like to pass on the mic because they've been doing great work, and Vishweshji might tell you about it.
So this is about the apprenticeship embedded degree program. So, So it basically depends on the kind of a industry and what kind of a manpower they require, because there are a lot of domains in that AEDP program. The first semester, the student will have to mandatorily go with the institute. So he will, 6 months he will learn in the institute, and after 6 months, during the total period of 3 years, there is an option given to the industry as well as to the institute that 1.5 years he can serve in the industry. So either he can go 6 months to industry, come back, or straight away last 1.5 years he can go to the industry. Yes, as a Yashaswi, we are implementing AEDP, and I think we can connect with you in which domain you require and what kind of a people you require. But this is a new initiative and it's a good initiative, so we implement. Thank you.
So good evening. I am Dr. Abhijit Shone from Management Institute, IMDR Pune. Now, our institute is imparting management program which is equivalent to MBA. And what we did is that the internship of 2 months is converted into 6-month internship. And we are planning to make it for 1 year. Right? Because in this next academic year, the first year will be common, and after first year, 1 year internship embedded program. So my question is, this particular act, is it applicable to post-graduation and MBA schools, like B schools? And the second question is, right, how many number of hours to be engaged by the student in the company, right? And what is mandatory, because what we are doing is embedded program. In the morning we have class hours 8 to 10, and after 10, candidate is free to join the internship program.
Actually, AEDP program till date is only for the graduate level, and in that it is expected 6 months he has to be mandatorily into the institute only. So like what you said, that 8 to 10 and then again going back, I don't feel that is the provision in AEDP. It very clearly says that they have to 1 semester first. They have to be in the institute, and out of 3 total, 1.5 year they have to spend in the industry.
So sir, what we are doing is the first year they are in the institute. After first year, this embedded program will be there.
Okay.
So in that case, like 6 months and 18 months, that is what I read. Optionally 6 months, 6 to 18 months. That is what I read here. Right? So if we have 1 year, right, along with 3rd semester and 4th semester, that is to train them, because always there is a complaint that people are not useful in the organization. So as he mentioned that BFSI sector, which we are catering to, right, if you could focus on this, right, we can get better returns.
The degree program is for 3 years. So it is mandatory 3 years. Below 3 years you don't get the degree from UGC. And out of 3 years, 1.5 year he is the academic and 1.5 year is the industry. The choice is with the industry and as well as the student or institute. Again I repeat, first 6 months it is mandatory, he has to be in the institute only.
But it's a great suggestion. Maybe we can connect later and see if something can be worked out. But as far as the rules is concerned, Vishwesh also mentioned right now that it's only for graduates.
Here, 3rd row.
Sir, Jai Hind, Mahesh Menon. I'm in an IT organization which is having an office in Guwahati. So you suggested something about NERs being posted out of NER. So can I have an NER being posted in NER that in Guwahati and pay 1,500?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that. So if you are from the, if you're out of your domicile, so I could be someone from Sikkim but working in Assam, so I'll still be applicable for it. I can be someone from Assam but working in Maharashtra, still be applicable for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like for us, we have a centralized notification where everybody applies and then they being pushed. We had 12 centers across the country. So when we post somebody in Guwahati, we take him in Guwahati only. As you said, I will have to pay 1,500 more if I am posting him out of Guwahati. So would it not be an
You won't have to pay. In fact, your burden will actually go down because 1,500 in addition the person is getting. You will pay your prescribed stipend amount.
Okay.
1,500, so 75% will continue to pay. 25% a maximum 1,500, which the government was giving already. So
Yes.
say if the person's stipend is 10,000, 8,500 you pay.
Yeah.
1,500 the government gives, but in addition they will get 1,500 more by the government. So you don't have to pay that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hello. Good evening, sir. This is Ame Kulkarni. I am representing John Deere here. So first of all, thank you so much for the detailed and insightful information. So my question here is related to first of all, if apprentice one period of apprentice hours and there is a gap of 1 year and then person can do another apprenticeship program. So I'm taking a hypothetical example here, and then if the first apprenticeship period is of 36 months, for example, the candidate completes 36 months of apprenticeship period, and then if he takes the gap of 1 year, can we take that person again for 36 months?
So Act actually says maximum 36 months. It's a good question. But anyway, you won't be able to take because second apprenticeship they'll have to do in a different sector and a job role. So then would work out.
Is not coming from so that clarity is not coming from that amendment. That when it's a 36 month, when people interpret that clause, it is 18 plus 18 kind of.
I mean, if you refer to the Act, it says maximum duration can be 36 months, but I guess we can add that. Thanks. Thank you for that.
So probably I'll just reframe what he means to say is that Your PPT mentioned that a person can do apprenticeship maximum of 2 apprentices, yeah, so that is 2 contracts maximum. So the second contract can start only after the first contract is completed, that is after 365 days. It is not 36 months, sir, it is 365 days. You had mentioned 365 days. So after 365 days, his second contract will be generated on the 366th day, or there has to be some gap or break of 1 year?
Start from the next day, 366.
From the 366th day, the second contract can be generated. Yeah. All right. Any further questions? Okay, meanwhile, we come up with more questions. I would like to ask one more query from my side, sir. So, in the auto termination process, at this point of time, the portal takes around 15 days to terminate one contract. Now, when you say that the auto termination process has been stopped and the apprenticeship advisors will be taking care of the termination, what is the period or the turnaround time a contract will get terminated by the apprenticeship advisor?
See, actually, contract has repercussions on a lot of things. So the entire stipend module, the payment module. So what we have advised is that they should not ideally take more than 2 weeks, and ensure that there is no overlap of a month end to a new month starting, which could cause. But in a lot of cases, it's at times the reasons for terminations are extremely complex. So it takes some time to hear both the sides out and proceed. So we are trying for 2 weeks.
All right. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Gayatri Taranikar. I'm head of human resource of Linamar India. So my question is, I hope these amendments are only impactful for the new NAPs and not impacting the existing NAP apprentice. And second question is, I see that after 1 year, if there is a termination, then again there has to be a gap of 1 year, and then so in between, due to this gap, if trainee tend to forget his previous education, is there any other channel through which the course can be refreshed before we put to the new skill? Thank you.
So I'll answer the first one first. The existing contracts will also get affected. I'll tell you how. So this amendment was effective as of 11 September. So for the contracts that got generated in September, till 11th, the prescribed stipend would be taken as the old one, and after 11th, the prescribed stipend would be will be the new one. For all the older contracts, what is only going to happen is, which we are working on right now, is that there would be a same contract, but it would be generated in a new template, because with all these amendments, we've had to change only slightly edit the contract template. However, nothing else will change. I think if I understand clearly, most of the companies are anyway paying more than the prescribed stipend. So you won't have to really change what you're doing, but these are some of the basic things which will change on the portal. The second one, I think it's a fantastic recommendation, and something that we are trying to push. So you must be aware of Skill India Digital Hub. It's a tech stack. It's in India, like Aadhaar and so on and so forth. So we say this has been recognized as a one-stop solution for all the skilling activities. And we do have a lot of asynchronous online programs related to most of the job roles. And with most of the apprentices who are currently ongoing training, we keep advising the TPAs, the companies, and them to also keep going through those videos, through those programs, because they give an additional. So it's slightly tricky, this amendment, because there were also a lot of cases of misuse of apprentice beyond a point, as sir also mentioned, because of cheap labor. So we wanted to stop that. However, a refresher would be possible, but then again, that person won't be able to do apprenticeship in the same domain. So we'll have to work around a way. But that's a great recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any further questions?
Hi sir, good evening. This is Rupali. I'm also from BP. So my question in terms of the number of apprentices, which is 2.5% in terms of the total number of manpower a company has in a financial year. So are we looking for any particular number in a year wherein we have to have the 2.5% number? In case if, say for a particular month, the number goes down, will that company be non-compliant in terms of hiring of apprentices, or will it still be okay in case?
Oh, it's a good question. So there's actually a calculation for it. So basis your employees plus contractual workers, 2.5% of that is the minimum apprenticeship count that you can keep. Now for that also, the calculation goes into apprenticeship months, basis the job role that you're taking and how many months are there. So easier calculation would be that, you know, as long as you had those many apprentices in a particular financial year to show, which is 2.5% of your, you'll be compliant. But if it goes below that, but I'll be happy to share how you can calculate it through the apprenticeship months in a particular year and see if you're compliant or not.
Okay, thank you so much. And one more small point which I would like to have a clarity on. I have been reading through quite a few articles wherein it says that a reservation should be for SC and ST. So just wanted to have it clear.
Sorry,
that
I didn't, can you speak
so
closer?
reservation for SC and ST candidate,
Yeah.
is it mandatory here in Maharashtra, or is it okay if we are just filling the number of 2.5%?
This is a central act, so it is mandatory to every state actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Swapnali Palande here. I'm from Aviant Materials India Private Limited. So about the leaves, I see if any apprentice failed to complete his contract. So how many number of leaves can be allowed in terms of every employee has number of PL, CL kind of. And the second one for the assessment, if we are engaging apprentices in different departments like production, supply chain, marketing, can we get any guideline in terms of how they are going to get assessed so that employer is also aware if there is any gap, we can also work on it. Thank you.
Thank you. But for leaves, it's usually when it comes to leaves and working hours, it is dependent on the industry or the company that the apprentice is working on. So it will be more of an internal matter of to how you want to, if there is an emergency or they have to leave for some reason, you'll have to follow your own policy and see what is. And then basis that, the stipend can be calculated for that month. Regarding the assessment, yes, I'll be happy to help you out with it. In fact, we can connect later also. Maybe Yashaswi team can also do. For some people, I can, for optional trades, I can tell you what the entire. So, in fact, we've also introduced something called Certificate of Proficiency. It was always mentioned in the Act, but it wasn't there. So, how the entire assessment process is going to work is that before the completion of the apprenticeship program, you on your login dashboard, and so will the apprentice, a window will open to conduct a practical assessment. And a practical assessment in optional trade is done by the company employing apprentices, taking apprentices. So a COP, once you've done the practical assessment and feeded the marks in, the Sector Skill Council will then be contacted to take the theoretical assessment for the job role. Once the apprentice has sat and cleared the theoretical assessment, COP, they'll be able to access the COP, Certificate of Proficiency, and also the final apprenticeship certificate. So this is the process that goes. 45 days before, you can take the practical assessment, feed in the marks on the portal, and then the Sector Skill Council will come and take the theoretical training.
Hi sir, this is Abhay Deshmukh from Jinawai Pharmaceutical Limited, and thanks for coming and thanks for Yashaswi for arranging this program. So my question is, we need high-skill employees for biopharmaceuticals. So for apprentice, we have taken almost 80 NAPS candidates. Out of this, last years we have taken on company roles 20 employees. But my suggestion is that we need to go for regulatory agencies and we need provided trainings for them, and we investing them to provide the trainings. So 1 year period is so less. So we require 2 years program. So have you provided some exclusion for that of that companies? Those are required highly skilled employees.
Yes, again, great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we do have a provision. Do contact us, and we are looking in cases where training would be required for a longer period. So we will allow an extension to that particular course curriculum job role, and of course, basis the evidence that you're able to provide, and that would be done. That's not a problem.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Chirag Thakkar, and the question that I have is the apprenticeship, they do not fall under the labor law. That means they will be following the policies of the company. What if the company or the employer is going to, misuse the policy, or if they are going to exploit the apprenticeship? Do we have any protection guidelines for them?
So examples of how the company can misuse?
Like doing overtime, or calling them on a 6th day, or calling them for 7 days continuously. It can be anything.
So we do have a grievance system in place where the apprentice, through their login, otherwise also are educated that if you're facing any issues, do reach out to us. So we have a centralized system where we get hundreds and hundreds of tickets every day, and then basis. So apprenticeship advisors are there for a reason, and in most areas, Maharashtra specifically, but other states also, they are very active. So once they are informed of any malpractice going on, then the corrective action is taken. So they can reach out to us through emails. We have a ticketing system. So all the information is available to them on the portal.
Okay, thank you. And what's the turnaround time for the help that they get?
Again, depends on the case. Sometimes, if it's a very clear case, we are able to resolve it early. Every time we try to create a TAT, it becomes, we're trying to implement the program pan-India, so we do face hiccups, but usually 2 weeks we try. I know that sometimes it takes longer, but we try to resolve it as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sir, one more question. So basically, at John Deere, we normally hire maximum diploma holders, diploma engineers, and normally we get quota from board office as well. So, and then we have this NAPS program too. So I would like to understand from you, and if some guiding principle, because if we don't fulfill that quota, we also get the show cause notice from the board office as well. And so if you can throw some light, because they also have an optional trade now they have introduced. So if you can throw some light on this, some guiding principles, that will help us.
Yes, so, unfortunately, this is, almost every forum or discussion or industry meet I go to, this question definitely comes. So from our side, this kind of a confusion should not be there for industries taking apprentices. Something that I think the board department had an oversight on. So firstly, both board and apprenticeship NAPS are fall under the Apprenticeship Act. So you could be taking 15% of apprentices under NAPS. You will still be compliant. You could be taking 15%, or rather even 2.5%, you'll still be compliant. You could choose to take a mix of both. I know for a fact that they had been aggressively sending show cause notices. So there are two things happening in parallel. One thing which I know will happen but is going extremely slow is that we are trying to integrate both systems online. Not make them one system, but one would be able to see the others, that if a company is taking apprentices under one, then the other should not reach out to them, or send them any notice. Secondly, we've sent, in the last 6 months, we've sent them almost 2-3 communications advising them to check with us before reaching out to the industry. So you can choose whichever program you want to run. You'll be compliant irrespective.
Any further questions?
Sir, hi, this is Srinivas Khari from Dowtel Consulting. these apprentices, they are future employees of the company organization, number one. Number two, India is cruising towards become a developed country. So now, when you want to become a developed country like America, Japan, or Germany, then of course there is a way of working. How do your organization helps the organization who are employing these apprentices to inculcate the attitude, workmanship, or the behavior, all those things, so that when they come into the regular employment, they become more employable? This is a soft side of the apprentice.
See, it's a very pertinent issue, and I myself, feel that even if we see our standing globally, I think Indians a lot of times might miss out on an opportunity because of the softer aspect of it, and this happens in almost everywhere we are present. So. We, as I said on SID, we do have a lot of free open courses that we would like to do. But I would really, here, I would say that somewhere the industry should take the responsibility. Because firstly, as policymakers, we never tell a company to do things in a certain way, because they would know best and they would know better than anyone else. And if they really want to create, and if they're serious about, we often say this, that if a company is running their apprenticeship program well, they should be able to absorb 100% of their apprentices, because they really understand everything and they won't want to lose out on them. Of course, appetites differ. So similarly, if you see them as future employees and if you want to move up the ladder, I know a lot of companies actually focus a lot on the software aspect of it. Maybe not so much in manufacturing, I haven't seen that happening, but in services, I've seen that. And manufacturing companies, which are MNCs, also do it. So I would urge the companies to possibly play a front-end role in this, because we facilitate and we take care of the policies with what's happening within the apprenticeship training. We leave that prerogative to the industry. So, but we'll be happy to, I know it's a very big issue. Maybe happy to brainstorm with you.
Hi, good evening, sir. Myself Santosh Shirsagar. My question is related to the CSR fund utilization. So, as mentioned in your PPT, the CSR fund utilization beyond the prescribed range. So, can you brief on that?
So, if you are complying, so beyond 2.5%, the apprentices that you take, expenditure on them. So it could be either setting up a basic infrastructure for classroom training and the stipend. So beyond 2.5% until 15% that you take, that can be booked under CSR.
I think there is one clarification, that stipend, what you can claim is a prescribed stipend. So now if you are paying 15,000, but the prescribed is 9,000, so you can claim only 9,000, not 15,000.
Any further questions? So, if possible, can you share a common email ID wherein the industry can share their inputs, or if they have any further queries, they can email on that email ID. Sure. So if you can just pass it on to us, we will send that email ID to everybody on their email. And I think this is a progressive act. Probably for going ahead, there might be more, amendments coming to it with the industry input. So if there are no further questions, we will move towards concluding this session. Sir, on behalf of Yashaswi Academy for Skills, I would like to thank all the dignitaries for taking out valuable time and addressing the audience. I am sure your inputs will benefit the industry to effectively implement the apprenticeship program with the amendments. I would also like to thank the NSDC team for their support. Lastly, I would like to thank each one of you for your participation and patient listening. We will conclude the session with national anthem and then proceed for the dinner, which is organized at the outer side of this hall. I would request all to please raise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Bharat Mata Ki. Thank you everybody once again.